Uh-oh, nettles everywhere. It's actually pretty cool. When I'm focusing, the sun star or the flares are rotating. Groovy. Yeah, look at those flares. It's like God rays. Okay, that's enough of that. Hey guys, welcome to my backyard. It's actually a park, but it's really close to my house. So, figured head out, end the day with a couple of shots on the old Canon SL2 and a vintage macro slash zoom lens that I'm gonna talk more about later on in this video. I also wanted to talk and show you guys a bit more about how I expose, how I shoot, what kind of white balance and all that kind of stuff in this video, and hopefully get some interesting shots along the way. Why, Canon, why? Why do you ditch the histogram on the screen once you press record? Don't like it. Oh, the moon. Might be an interesting shot. If we were in photo mode. So yeah, there we go. I don't know, it's not super huge, the moon, but maybe we've got something. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about when it comes to using these, or at least how I shoot with these custom picture styles, is first of all, I'm pretty much always in daylight white balance, and I'm not doing any custom white balance, so just the standard Canon white balance. And that's because, well, first of all, if you want to mimic film is usually either tungsten or daylight, so and also makes life a bit more simple. There's nettles everywhere. It's not fun. Let's see, which one should we pick? Can only do one, so maybe. Didn't look as pretty as I thought. So yeah, let's see if we can find something more. We're in a slope. Does it look weird with the ground and the trunk of the tree kind of tilted? Is this better? It actually looks like this lens is pretty sharp. Actually, it flares like crazy, but it's actually pretty sharp. Normally, I mean, zoom lenses of this age tends to be quite soft, but this one, the auto Canon, is actually pretty sharp. Okay, let's get a few more shots before we lose all the light. I've been kind of dreading this because a lot of you might think that I'm a real idiot the way I shoot, but I'm a hybrid shooter, so I'm constantly switching between stills and video and stills. And on a camera like this, where I don't have the ability to have different shutter speeds and ISO settings, depending on if I'm shooting stills or video, I've come to the conclusion that if I find a subject, if I frame it up nicely and set my exposure correctly, take a still, and then I want to take a quick video of that same subject, instead of, going through my settings all over, I just, tend to keep everything the same. So I'm normally shooting 60 frames per second most of the time because of this, to keep my shutter at least 1/125. And the ISO that I use is pretty much always ISO 400, which, can add just a tiny bit of grain to some of the pictures, depending on, you know, the scene and everything. But with these picture styles, I find that that little amount of grain that you might see from time to time actually looks pretty nice. And I normally add more grain in post anyway, so that doesn't really bother me. So yeah, that's two of the big secrets, I guess. 1/125 and ISO 400, and I keep my exposure in check with a variable ND since I'm shooting video, and I don't want to unscrew the VND when I'm switching from stills to video and the other way around, and just, you know, have that mess. I have been thinking about trying the Freewell ND filters, the magnetic ones that you can kind of, you know, just snap on and off real quick. But then again, then I'm, you know, holding a VN or an ND filter in my hand, and I have to reset all my settings. So to me, this kind of works. You know, it's kind of the best of both worlds, I guess. So unless I'm doing something super specific where I need a really fast shutter speed, I keep everything pretty much the same between video and stills. And same thing with white balance. I tend to stick with the daylight white balance, the standard, you know, preset white balance that comes with the Canon cameras.
Okay, so here's a final tip for you. If you don't like the look of the built-in daylight white balance preset on your Canon camera, try to set your white balance into flash mode. Here, I'll show you. Okay, so now we're in flash, and I'll put the other image side by side here. Sorry about the, you know, proximity. I'm using a 35mm lens on an APS-C camera, so yeah. How's my nostrils looking?
So I'm not doing any custom white balance or anything. I mean, you could if you want to do that, but to me, it's pretty much always about making it as simple and as frictionless as possible. So yeah, today I've been shooting, or I actually didn't have too much time to shoot. See if we can get this in focus, but I'm trying out this old auto Canon. It's a 35 to 70 mil vintage zoom, and there's also a little macro switch or a macro ring on this. I haven't actually gotten around to try that yet. So I really wanted to try the macro feature and get a couple of more ticks before I headed home. Maybe burn myself on some nettles. So here's something pretty bright, and let's see if we can get this thing into macro mode. And this is probably not gonna work. The only thing that I've seen so far is that flares are a bit crazy. So sometimes you want a lot of flares and sometimes you don't. But if you want flares and kind of, you know, colorful ghosting and that kind of stuff, this lens will get you covered. Anyway, I hope that kind of answers your question about the settings that I use. ISO 400, 1/125, 60 frames per second if I'm shooting video, or single frame if I'm shooting stills. And I just control everything with a variable ND filter. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you'll have a great day tomorrow, or today if you're watching this early in your day. And now I'm gonna go home and check myself for ticks. So see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.